Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about Steve Bannon's affirmance of his conviction for contempt. This is at the Court of Appeals, the D.C. Circuit, effectively his last stop. I don't believe we can expect the Supreme Court to take up the case. The previous instance of Peter Navarro in the same situation, the court didn't take it. And this was a pretty thorough and definitive rejection of his claim. It's by a panel of three, one Obama appointee, one Trump appointee, and one Biden appointee, the newest member of the court, Judge Garcia, actually doing the writing. And it's unanimous. And the issue really is cut and dried. So recall that the congressional committee subpoenaed Bannon, and he basically refused to cooperate, refused to testify, citing some vague notion of possible executive privilege that possibly Trump, no longer president, wanted to assert. It was pretty vaporous, pretty ethereal, I think you could say. And the DOJ decided in his case to follow through with Congress's referral and, in fact, charge him with contempt. So recall, for instance, they didn't do that for Mark Meadows, who at least could point to, by virtue of his position, some kind of special, not defense even as much as good faith belief that he should be resisting, and that just went to his criminal culpability. Bannon tried to mount a similar argument here, but, he got blown out of the water. He's just, first of all, he's just a kind of political consultant who even knows what he is, a shaggy-haired podcaster, but he has no role in government or that would somehow trigger the importance of executive privilege and the like. His main argument went to the requirement under the contempt statute that the violation be willful, or that you willfully refuse. And what he said basically was he did it in good faith. It's a little more convoluted than that, but that's his basic argument. Believe me, I did it in good faith. And the court very firmly cited a precedent directly on point that completely blows him out of the water. Did Bannon talk about other criminal statutes that use the word willfully, but that really is to no avail, because this statute, it's quite plain under the precedent of the D.C. Circuit. Willfully means intentionally, deliberately, and specifically doesn't mean in bad faith. So even if, and I think it's highly dubious, but even if he thought that he had a real claim here, that doesn't matter. And the court at some length goes to pains to explain what a real undermining of the statute it would be if you let the contemnor, the person who's refusing to comply with Congress, just say, well, I have good faith. Congress needs to investigate things. The power, but just, it's funny because over the last few years, we've seen repeatedly different people thumb their nose at Congress when they step up and salute to the executive branch and the DOJ. A subpoena is a subpoena, and they're it should be deserving of as much respect from Congress. But as a practical matter, it's so much harder for Congress to enforce. That's really the only difference, but it's been exploited cynically and prolifically by especially MAGA Trump types. So anyway, for Bannon, it's enough that it be deliberate and intentional. And then they moreover go into a variety of his defenses, including suggestion that maybe Trump, in fact, had asserted executive privilege, but there was zero in the record about it, and so that didn't fly. and then a few affirmative defenses that were really reheated versions of saying, he thought he wasn't supposed to because of his role as a counselor to the executive. So pretty definitive, and his time draws quite nigh. He can ask, and he will, the Court of Appeals to rehear it en banc. They'll turn it down. He can ask, and he will, the Supreme Court to grant cert, and they will turn it down. And then it'll go back to the district court for sentencing. And, within a few months, it's time for Steve Bannon to pack his bag for a 4-month or so stay in the federal penitentiary. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.